It's very important to understand that Westchester County, even though we live in this current generation, in the 2020 generation, Westchester has a deep history in the beginning of the roots of this country. And over the course of time, many very historic things have happened in and around us. And there are many out there in the community that are looking forward to celebrating anniversaries of those great events. We know that we have a 250-year anniversary coming up for the founding of our country. If you date back to the Declaration of Independence in 1776, we're approaching in 2026 the 250th year of that. I'm a little embarrassed because I remember the 200th Bicentennial in 1976, but time goes along. And here we are, and we also have a very important bicentennial, 200 years worth, the return of General Lafayette's visit to America, and he visited here in Westchester County. So we have Dr. Peter Feinman. I mentioned before he's a resident of Portchester, but he's from the Institute of History, Archaeology, and Education. He's going to discuss this bicentennial of Major General Lafayette's return to America as a guest of the nation. And we know that the Marquis de Lafayette was deeply involved in the American Revolution, but he came back 50 years later to see what had happened to this country that was founded on such principles. So, Dr. Peter Feinman, please be with us, and then we'll present this officially to you at the end of your conversation.
Oh, okay. I was going to use this then.
Oh, you can use it if you'd like, by all means. The microphone is yours, sir.
I was going to use it as a prop. See, some of you may be wondering why I'm holding this proclamation here from County Executive George Latimer, designating Sunday, August 18th of this year as Lafayette Day in Westchester. Now, most of us, when we think of Lafayette, we think of the American Revolution, but we don't realize that he returned to this country in 1824. He did so at the invitation of President James Monroe. Now, 1824 was a presidential election year, just like this year is. The country was deeply divided, just like this year. There were great tensions. There was no real national figure that everyone could rally about. They called it sectionalism, where candidates may have popularity in certain sections, but not throughout the whole country. Lafayette was seen as the figure of unity. Now, as they approached their 50th anniversary back then, of course, no one knew there would be a 250th. That would probably be amazing to them. They had a lot of concerns about whether America could really make it, whether we could be true to our values, true to the values of the Declaration of Independence, whether we could live up to the standards set by our fabled founding fathers. We've seen some of that recently on June 6th at D-Day, sort of the last hurrah of the great generation that fought there in World War II. And these veterans who had fought in the Revolution are now getting on in age. They're starting to die. John Adams would die a couple years after this. Thomas Jefferson would die a couple years after this. So Lafayette had his work cut out from him. He originally came here just to visit the original 13 states. He was so well received that all 24 that existed wanted in. Everywhere he went, it was big parades, big bands, gunfire, muskets. I compare it to Taylor Swift, except there's a big difference. Because Lafayette was so popular, he had places named after him. If you go back to your own community, you probably find that there's a Lafayette Street there, or a Lafayette Park. There are Lafayette cities, Lafayette villages, Lafayette statues. So we had a tremendous impact that we easily forget as of now. The American Friends of Lafayette is going to celebrate Lafayette's visit in all 24 states. And I am in charge of the Westchester portion of that visit. So I am working with from St. Paul's Church to Byram River at the Connecticut border, because basically he was traveling the Boston Post Road to get up to see his friend who had been an ambassador to France, John Adams. So he stopped at various locations along the way. In fact, just before this meeting, I was on a Zoom call with Mamaroneck as they're planning how they're going to provide the welcome committee. So you may look forward to an invitation, possibly. So we are working with each of the local committees to come up with a a celebration. They're doing their own thing. We're not telling them what to do. We will have a Lafayette reenactor, and we will have a descendant of the Marquis de Lafayette himself, 8th generation. She will be here with her 2 daughters, traveling in our 3 buses of 140 people, which was kind of overwhelming. But like the Rye Historical Society, where we had lunch, can only handle 12 people at a time. That makes it a little difficult in planning how you're going to organize and celebrate these events. But we look forward to that day, and in each of the communities, from St. Paul's Church to New Rochelle to Mamaroneck to Rye to the Byram River. And celebrating it, there'll be family days, so you can bring your own family and activities. It's not just for the 142 people on the bus, it's for everybody. There'll be all kinds of children's activities and adult activities as well. So we look forward to seeing you all there. And we hope to have a press conference July 13th in honor of Lafayette setting sail from France to here. Thank you.